Now, after Nio gave us the January 2023 deliveries, we saw some of the retail investors that invest into the Nio stock panicking due to the low delivery numbers that Nio produced for January. Some are already predicting that is the end of the road for Nio as the deliveries are becoming lower. I mean, even some YouTube content creators who of course release videos of saying that it looks like things are turning out to be bad on the Nio stock. Nio is losing its grip in China, which is something that obviously made people to panic and started to sell their Nio stocks. Now, ladies and gents, China has been one of the countries that have been motivating or encouraging their consumers into buying EV cars. I mean, this is something that we have been seeing, or we saw even last year when, of course, or until the subsidies expires, or most subsidies expired in December of 2022. We've been seeing consumers getting massive discounts or when they buy EV cars, which is something that is incredible. Now, obviously, ending of subsidies or the expiry of subsidies in 2022 made a lot of also people to talk about the demand decrease that we might witness in these EV stocks like Nio. Now, ladies and gents, last week we saw Shanghai announcing that they are extending, of course, their subsidies from February to December of 2023, which this, ladies and gents, it will definitely give a boost on Nio. This just definitely means that obviously China still cares about EV stocks like Nio, and they are still on a mission to push consumers to opt to buy EV cars rather than gas cars. This means that China really cares about EV stocks. Now, over and above that, we know that obviously there is a district within Shanghai that even gives people more subsidies of up to 20,000 RMB or Chinese yen, an additional over the 10,000 RMB that they usually receive in Shanghai. So the additional 20,000 is for people that buy cars with Nio's program. And I suppose when they talk about Nio's program, ladies and gents, they are talking about a local resident who buys Nio program noted. This is something that obviously might mean that since Nio differs from the other EV cars due to their battery swapping station technology, they might mean that those that buy Nio and maybe subscribe to bus, they can get an additional 20,000 RMB on their purchase, which is something that is incredible. So all this just means that China still really cares about EV stocks like Nio. China really cares about EV stocks. In fact, China, you will note that they are the leader, or in terms of sales, they are leading worldwide, or they are the global leaders when it comes to EV adaptation. As you know that their market share is even over 50%, or it's way over 50%, meaning that all over the world, US, European countries, and China is having over 50% of the market when it comes to this EV car sales. So this is something that must just show you that China, it is that destination, or it is that country where EV are really doing well, which is why it is very important, or which is one of the main reasons why I like investing into EV stocks like Nio, because not only are they bringing new technology like battery swapping station or building beautiful cars, but they are building or selling their cars in a country where consumers get motivated by subsidies or that the government introduced and makes their consumers to go in and motivate them and buy the EV cars like Nio. So Nio, ladies and gents, we are not seeing, it's not the end of the road. China still cares about Nio, which is why we are seeing some district even putting or introducing even more subsidies to those that buy Nio cars that are subscribed to battery as a service, which entails the consumers that buy the Nio cars going to a battery substation and change their car in less than 4.5 minutes. So all this just definitely means that obviously China cares or still cares about Nio. But before we dig deep, or before we forget the house rules, you already know that this video is just an entertainment video and not a professional financial advice video. Now, I really appreciate if you can just hit the likes button if you are enjoying the content that I'm giving you about the Nio stock. Nio is one of the stocks that we discuss a lot on this channel because this is my number one largest holding in my stock market portfolio. I think I've said this a couple of times today, say that I believe that this is a company which is just set for greatness. This is a company that its fundamentals, its future prospects will definitely make it to flourish and do really good in the future. You remember that the target for the Nio CEO by 2030 it is to find Nio in the top 5 or within the top 5 of all the automakers worldwide. So Nio will be in the top 5 or plans to be in the top 5 according to the CEO. Now this, of course, the fact that obviously some people are starting to think that due to the January deliveries of just over 8,500 deliveries, Nio maybe it's going down the drain. It is not true, or it is not a true reflection, as you already know that from January to March companies or EV companies are expected to obviously maybe suffer still these supply constraints, and from Q2 we can expect more recoveries, meaning that more deliveries can be expected from Q2, which is something that is incredible. I mean, Nio CEO, Deutsche Bank and other analysts have of course made these prediction and made the forecast to say that supply chain constraints are expected to come to an end at the first half or at the first quarter, of 2023. So I'm really excited, and whatever kind of deliveries that maybe Nio might deliver January, February, March, it does not necessarily mean that I must change my viewpoint on Nio. But what I'm really looking forward to is the delivery starting from April going forward, because already before we even saw this January deliveries, it's still in the end of December. Nio CEO had already said that January, March until March of 2023 the deliveries might not be that good, but from April going forward, that is where we'll witness some serious growth into deliveries. In fact, the Nio president also said that the second half of this year, Nio will even ramp up production further, meaning that we can easily start seeing Nio delivering robust delivery numbers. I'm predicting that we might even see Nio delivering over 25,000 in 1 month, because the supply constraints will be finally over, or will be lifted off the deliveries of these EV companies like Nio. Now, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is of course Nio reaching profitability. As you already know that they plan to achieve that between the Q4 and the Q1 of 2024. And talk about 2024, you will know that Nio next year they will be starting to sell their sub brand, which is called Alps, which will be cheaper than Nio. The Alps, you already know that I think the range is around their cars will range around 200 RMB or Chinese yen, which is way cheaper than the current Nio models, which is something that will again drive the demand to those people that want to buy cheaper cars on Nio. Then there will be a third sub brand named Firefly, or with a code name Firefly, which again it will also be cheaper than Nio and Alps. That one will be the lower end of the kind of cars that Nio will be selling in the market. So guess what? That again is going to drive in more consumers into coming and want to buy the Nio cars. But one thing that will really encourage them to come and buy these Nio sub brands rather than maybe other sub brands is of course because of the battery swapping station technology. As we already know that these two sub brands, ladies and gents, will also be eligible for of course a battery swapping station, as Nio has indicated that they are going to build also a different swap station for their two sub brands. So we know that there is going to be battery swapping stations for the two sub brands, Firefly and Alps, which is something that obviously is going to encourage a lot of consumers into coming and want to buy the Nio cars or the Nio sub brand cars, as they will be able to swap batteries rather than going to a normal charging station and charge their car. So I'm really excited because with these battery swapping stations, it obviously takes the risk of you owning the battery in your car, but rather rent the battery. As you already know that one of the major costs in EV cars is batteries, right? Batteries constitute a lot of money on an EV car, which is why it is a good initiative from Nio to rather obviously offer a subscription where you don't own batteries, but rather you go, or it allows you to go to any battery swapping station and change the battery in your car in less than 4.5 minutes, which obviously we know that it is getting better. By the way, the battery, the time that you change battery swapping station, as the third generation, you know that it takes over or below 3 minutes or just under 3 minutes for you to change the battery substation. So these things are the ones that I personally believe that when people know the kind of problems they may face if they are to buy and own the batteries also in their car, the kind of amount, the account prices they might be sitting with if their batteries get damaged or does not function well. A lot of people are going to obviously consider the Nio, of course, battery subscription, which allows them to swap the batteries in their car in few minutes or in just a few minutes, which is something that is incredible. So these news of saying that Nio has done its utmost best just because of the January deliveries, it's not it. I personally believe that this is just the beginning, guys. We cannot expect Nio to do very well in just a few months. We cannot expect Nio to deliver over 20,000 deliveries in just of course a few months, but we need to give it some time. I personally believe that this year we will never finish the probably in the second half, or maybe just before the second half, we are definitely going to see Nio delivering over 20,000 deliveries in on a month. That is coming. I'm really looking forward to that because Nio's supply chain constraints are expected to come to an end by the end of March of this year. So I'm really excited and I cannot wait to see Nio starting to deliver robust delivery numbers. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just give you this quick update as to that China still cares about EV stocks like Nio. In fact, there are districts that really like or are trying their best to make sure that people go out there and opt to buy Nio cars because they are supporting Nio's program, and that is the initiative of battery swapping stations. So if you thought that China doesn't care about EV stocks anymore, if you thought that most of the EV companies are not going to do well this year or are going to die to the ground, well, I've got news for you to say that China still really cares about EV stocks, and they will not let a company like Nio go down the drain. They will do whatever they can to give it the support that it needs so that it grows. So please don't panic. Hang in there. The low trading share price that we are witnessing onto the Nio stock are supposed to be opportunities for you to scoop in more shares, to scoop in more holdings and strengthen your holdings onto the Nio stock. Otherwise, with all that, I make tons and tons of stock market investing videos, and if you think that this video was amazing, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment and subscribe. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me. And I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.